it does show you that the real upside opportunities are going to be trying to pick off some of these winners that will come in this next wave. They're not all going to be amazing. They're not all going to work. So we like to diversify ourselves across multiple markets. And then we want to capture some that go 100%, 200%, 300%. Hey, Mark with Netpicks here. Wanted to do a update of the cryptocurrency market because yesterday Bitcoin hit an all-time high at 112,000 plus. So it's a good time to come in and look at where the markets have gone, what we maybe can expect next. And you can see on this Bitcoin chart, I've been issuing buy setups and signals for Bitcoin and other crypto markets since 2019 here at Netpicks. These are the most recent buys that we had. And what was significant about this is each one of these has ultimately played out with a pretty extended move. You can see back in April, our move from 88,000 has done quite well now that we're at 112,000. If we go back further, we had a number of setups in 2024 in the summer in the mid 60s. And you can see each time that happened, we did end up with a really nice move to the upside. And even if we go further back, you can see all the other buy points since 2023. It's just been consistently rewarded and we found a lot of great places to get in. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Bitcoin here. Now that we had our most recent entry at 109,557, will we get another extended move to the upside? Obviously, it's always hard to say. These markets have high reward, clearly higher risk, but the risk has gone down quite a bit. Since I started this in 2019, the markets have changed dramatically. One thing I like to look at is total market cap to kind of get an idea of where are we in the cycle right now. And you can see even with Bitcoin going through 112,000 at all-time highs, we really are not at all-time highs when it comes to overall crypto market cap, which was closing in on 4 trillion. I still would expect us to move through this and set new all-time highs if this bull market is fully realized. We've been in a bull market for a while. It's been more extended than maybe people thought. It's taken a bit longer. There was a lot of calls for maybe the peak by the spring, maybe summer. At this point, we are still hoping that it's going to be extended into the fall or maybe, who knows, even into early 2026. The only way that we take these levels out is for one of those scenarios to take place and for us not to find a peak and then go into that next cycle down, which is the way crypto has typically worked. We go through these 4-year cycles. So that is very, very common. Ideally, we're not at that peak yet. But for me, this is encouraging to see that we've still got room to run on total market cap. It gets more interesting when you start to take out certain components. Like if we exclude Bitcoin from the equation, so now it's the market cap of all crypto outside of Bitcoin. Do you see the difference now? From where we are today to the last high, not that long ago, end of 2024, that's about a 35% increase in market cap. That's not even taking out all-time highs and moving even higher. That's just taking out Bitcoin. Now, if we exclude Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's a pretty similar looking thing. Where it gets really interesting is if we look at this chart, which is called others, meaning every crypto market outside of the top 10. If you would look at this, you'd say, well, are we in a bull market? It's early, but that's what you're looking for is opportunity. You really don't want to be getting in when crypto is up here, right? Like if we were back at the end of 2024, and look at this chart, we had these market cap buy points here, right, in November, and it just shot up here in literally less than a few weeks, right? That was almost a double. That's how fast these markets can go. But if you get in up here, your reward risk, it feels like it's never going to stop, but it always stops. You could find this throughout all of history, pretty much on any chart. Eventually, it's got to pull back. So even though this does not look, are we in a bull market? We don't really know yet. But you can see we've got some buy points at this market cap level. I would expect to see almost every time one of these gets confirmed, we get a shot to the upside. When we have buy setups that don't confirm, it keeps going down. This would be very interesting if we can get another 5% move. I would expect to see market cap to bust up to this level or higher, but that still gives us a lot of room to run. That means a lot of potential opportunities. Let me show you some of the other markets we're tracking. Now, Ethereum is really what's going to be the guiding force behind if the others take off to the upside, right? This is what's got to happen, what's got to take off and start to catch up to Bitcoin. One thing we look at a lot is Bitcoin dominance, right? If Bitcoin really dominating the entire market, what I'm semi-excited about right now is the fact that we just hit all-time highs, and this is on the downside, meaning Bitcoin dominance is going down, meaning more money is flowing into all of crypto In addition to Bitcoin hitting high, the fact that Bitcoin is a smaller percentage of the overall crypto market, about 64%, compared to just for a couple of weeks ago, that's actually a bullish sign. We need this to break down further while Bitcoin either goes higher or at least holds its own. Anytime that this happens, usually the market's moving higher from Ethereum on down, especially others outside the top 10. So we just got started on another buy here in this $2,700 range. While we had a number of buys set up for months, not a single one got in until right here back in April, below 2,000. It looked like a really good entry. It's not to say that these buy points are perfect, but they've been pretty reliable and definitely stack the odds in our favor. Now let's go beyond just Bitcoin and Ethereum and take a look at some of our other markets that we call our Elite 7. Avalanche is one, and we have multiple buy points here, but around the $21 level. The market is currently below that. If I can get this move up to about $21 or higher, we're definitely going to be adding to our position. You can see there is a lot of potential territory here just to retest highs back at the end of last year. I'd like to see this. This shows me there is plenty of opportunity. Even if we don't ultimately take out all-time highs, even if this market doesn't maintain itself as one of the top leaders, it still gives us a lot of opportunity for a really solid trade. And you can see when those buys had hit before, the trades have been well rewarded. Right? So back in 2024, we had like a buy point here. When it peaked, that was up 130% practically. And we did it again on this buy entry before. Obviously, we pulled back. So are we setting up the next 130% move? Maybe. It's certainly possible. Polkadot is another one, right? When we had the same moves back last year, what was the move like? The move was almost 170%. Does that mean that from here, it's going to move 170%? I don't really know. It may not. But it just shows you the potential is there. We are way off those highs. So while everybody's been talking about B2, Bitcoin has been exciting being where it's at. And that really, you want that to be the bread and butter of your portfolio, your crypto portfolio. It does show you that the real upside opportunities are going to be trying to pick off some of these winners that will come in this next wave. They're not all going to be amazing. They're not all going to work. So we like to diversify ourselves across multiple markets. And then we want to capture some that go 100%, 200%, 300%. Chainlink, another one that has great fundamentals. It's an excellent project. It's just not quite there yet. It hasn't quite taken off yet. Although all these charts look pretty similar, but you can see when this has happened before, and it struggled for a while, went sideways in September, October, November, we got a huge reward. Now, again, I don't know if that's going to happen for sure, but we absolutely right now are getting into this market in this 1450 range because we feel reward risk is very favorable. Trade may not work out. Trade may end up going down. It's always possible, especially in crypto. But we like to have a little bit of exposure into these markets. Polygon Manic, another one, right? Huge potential upside. We're just now getting another buy trigger, literally as I speak in this level. We had one as well back in April. Did pretty well for a while, but it's pretty much about break even at this point after having a good little move. We came back down and now we're getting another buy. But in the past, those moves, when we've seen them, have been pretty well rewarded. Now, we don't just trade the underlying cryptocurrency markets. We also are involved in the ETFs. This is IBIT. So this is the Bitcoin ETF. You can see we had a really nice buy point here, a really nice one here. What's interesting is the Ethereum ETF, we just had an entry. And you can see what I mean by that. Literally, this buy point here is just pretty much triggered about 2077 or so. We're just a little bit above that right now. So we're definitely positive on this one. We had one back in April. That was in the $14 and change range. So that one is already up significantly. We'll be closing on 50% in just a little bit over a month. Good opportunity there. We also always look at Coinbase stock. This one's moved phenomenally well. When I marked up the chart at that point, it was 45%, but it's gone quite a bit further. At this point, we're up 91% since we put out that buy in early April. I know there's not a lot to look at here, but another exciting ETF that's out is SSK, which is an ETF on Solana that actually pays cash flow. So I know it's hard to see. It's really just started trading. So we need to look at a chart like Solana. And you can see this one also is just starting to get new buy entries to come into play here in the 158 and change range. Our last one back in April, it's done pretty well so far from 135. Once again, I can go back to previous times when we've had some really nice entries. And then we went to all-time highs, as you can see. So over time, we've had some pretty amazing entries. In fact, not that long ago, back in 2023, we were buying in the $20 range. Even though we went all the way up to 300, came all the way back down. That's still up a sevenfold. It's a roller coaster ride, no question, but it shows you why you want to get in intelligently when you can on these markets. Now, we just don't look at the most obvious players that are out there. I like to look at things in some narratives. So for instance, in the AI narrative, this is AIOZ USD. You can see some pretty nice buy points. This one, we're sort of waiting to get back up to that last buy point. So this is an example where, look, they don't all automatically go to all-time highs. But even in the case where the markets haven't been super bullish, like this entry, well, that's 100% move, folks, in just a few weeks. But to show you potential that's possible, here's an example where back in late 2024, that move went 170%. Another one that we like a lot is Render USD. We have some buy points that have not hit yet. So if you're interested in one, might be able to look at here in the 3.7000 level. If that hits, I would feel pretty confident that we'll get some really nice follow through. Never any guarantees. We don't want to put it all in on something like this, but when those buy points hit, more times than not, we'll get a pretty nice move overall. And sometimes those moves can be substantial. Not perfect. I'm going to say the 1 out of 4 times it's just not going to work for us. If it doesn't work, we either stay in and wait it out because ultimately we're expecting higher highs for crypto, or you just have to take the loss and wait for the new setups. Here's one of the gaming space. Again, one that can move really fast, really hard when it takes off. You got a buy point here, about the 0.5171. I mean, I'm giving you buy points here. Not there yet, but if we get through this on IMX USD, could we get up to here? Absolutely. I mean, just a move from here to maybe midway through the last little highs, that's over 100% move right there. If you look historically, when those buys have hit, they've almost all been well rewarded. Not perfect, but certainly, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 or more have gone our way. So Ripple, another favorite, and it has just triggered some new buys for us. So you can see here just a few days ago, getting long about that 2.29 level and up a little bit here since then. We'll see where this one goes overall. And one more I'll cover is SUI USD, SUI USD. Again, I want to cover ones that have not triggered yet or just triggered. So you maybe have some opportunities here. This one just triggered today about the 3.201 level. So it's right in at that level of entry. You can see back in April, we had this one go about 70%. We're still well ahead on this entry. If we go back historically, these buys have been well rewarded. Check this one out here. That was a huge move. Not saying that we're going to get that move again, but if I measure up here what's possible, that's a 575% move. Now, again, I'm not saying that's in the cards. We'd have to get it at $15. I would just love to get back to all-time highs and some blue sky territory. That's a pretty good recap of one of our strategies for setting up buy points, what we call intelligent dollar cost averaging. I showed you a lot of our Elite 7 plus markets, plus ETF markets. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you want me to take a look at any of the markets, I'm happy. I'll answer back to your comments personally. And also gave you some potential new buy opportunities. We'll come back with the video in a month and see how those did. Good luck in the crypto markets. High reward, definitely some risk. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Take care, everybody.
Everything discussed here is our opinion, and it is not to be taken as investment advice because we are not your financial advisor, nor have we considered your personal situation as your fiduciary. This presentation is for your education and entertainment only. Please review Netpicks' full risk disclaimer and privacy policy.